What's up out there? In this video, we're going to take a look at my Tectonic Slam build again. I've been iterating on it a little bit more, trying some things out just to see where they go, and I found a new weapon to try, so let's dive into this. First and foremost, I've been running armor and evasion. I cannot, for at least the helmet, chest piece, and boots. The regular gauntlets are armor based, so nothing exciting there. But I've been running this armor evasion setup. The only thing that I can tell you why I've been doing that, the only reason I can explain it, is when I ran pure armor, I felt like I was taking a lot of projectiles, just right to the teeth. So I switched over to armor and evasion with the thinking that evasion would get me around projectiles. And I've looked around, I can't find anything that verifies that, or it's kind of like a hunch. I don't really have an exact science for it. But I feel like that a little bit of avoidance directs stuff away. Like, I feel like when I'm getting pelted by fire bombs and whatever, all kinds of stuff flies around, I don't get hit as much with this as I do with other stuff. And I've got another build that's fully armor based that doesn't have that problem at all, and I just go through and everything's fine. I'm sure that's something on the passive tree or something. I don't really know. The defensive layer stuff is still kind of a mystery to me, and I'm not totally secure in, I pick this because of that. And I understand that you take a lot of different, like, you don't use all the different defensive layers, you just kind of pick and choose certain ones. So I think this is an option that works fairly well for this. I do think there are some things I can quantify as why the difference in why things were taking more damage or something like that. With this pure armor setup, I've got a Giant Slayer helmet with 1100 armor. This Royal Plate's got 3500 armor, basically. These Leviathan greaves could be better, but this is what I rolled at 580. So at the time, I was low on currency, I think. So this is kind of what I stuck with, and I tried these for a little while. Now, what I think one of the problems is, when I built all this gear, everything I've got, I think, has fire resistance on it. Like, everything has fire resist. The belt doesn't, I guess. But like these boots, 41% fire res. This gauntlets have 35% fire res. The chest piece has 39%. And the helmet's got 42%, which I've got on the ascendancy side of things. I've got this node here, which modifiers to fire res also apply to cold and lightning at 50% of their value. And then I've got this one here, which modifiers to max fire res also apply to cold and lightning. So basically all of my LE res is up at 83% with this particular set of gear. If I look at this helmet, I get 34% fire res, where this helmet's got 42. So we're losing some fire res there. This one doesn't have any, the chest piece has no fire res, where this one's got 39%. So that's an even bigger drop. And then this one I had to craft 30% on, where this one's got 41%. So you're losing a lot of fire resist, which takes your the life regen from this from like 666 down to 517 or something like that. And it drops, it doesn't drop the resistances necessarily, although there is some oddity there. Instead of being all 83s, it was like 83 something. They were lower. The cold and lightning were lower than fire for some reason, instead of being equal. I don't exactly understand why. Probably because I don't have fire res on everything. I don't know. It was hard to describe, but it just wasn't. I guess what I have now is at the tipping point that 50% of their value means that they are full value of fire res, whereas, yeah, because they're at 98%. So they're probably at the point where they're up to that, whereas what I had before was just underneath of it. So they were getting 50% of the value of fire res, which was just under the cap res, probably. Now that I'm looking at it, that's probably how it went. But also on my implicits, like this is more damage and curse oriented on this. This has life recovery and damage recouped on the chest piece. And this one's got +1 to maximum fire res, in addition to exerted attacks by seismic cry deal more damage. On these, we've got increased attack damage on the helmet, but we've also got fizz damage recouped as life. The chest piece has increased armor, damage recouped as life, and the boots have armor from helmet and gloves are increased with the +1 maximum fire res. So some combination of this stuff just wasn't quite doing it, and it didn't feel that good for me. So I ended up swapping this gear back. I did not repurpose this gear in the meantime. I specifically just worked on this Tech Slam build for a while. I played it for about a half a day with this armor, and it was like, this just kind of sucks, and I wasn't feeling it. The next change that I made was actually yesterday. I was scrolling through Reddit, and I saw somebody talking about their version of a Tectonic Slam Juggernaut. So they had a POB link to it. I clicked on it. I was looking through it. The biggest thing that caught my eye is the weapon they were using. Now, I've been using this Tolo's Felling Pile Driver, which has a lot of stun, reduced enemy stun threshold, increased stun duration, stuff like that. The whole point of this build that I've gotten so far is to throw out a massive AoE, stun as much of the screen as possible. When they go and die, they explode, and it just kind of chain reacts throughout the whole screen. So I want the most AoE possible. That's why I'm running Pulverize instead of something other like Multi-Strike or something like that. I would also add that it just feels good with this build, I should say. So then I saw this guy's build, and he was using this Tidebreaker, which looked intriguing. And I spent yesterday, you can get the div card off Plateau. I don't have any of the div cards. I sat down yesterday. I tried to farm it up a little bit. I used almost all my Plateau maps. Didn't get a div card at all. So I sat down today to record this video, and then I thought, hey, wait a minute. I'm in Trade League. I don't have to worry about that. All I have to do is go and buy the div cards from this guy down here, this currency guy. So I did. And I've made a mistake. I didn't make a mistake. I just need to 6-link this thing. I need to get that part done. I 5-linked it, and I thought, I don't have to worry about that. But I do, because I forgot one critical step. But anyway, the reason this is so intriguing, as an implicit, you get 10% increased strength. So maybe I haven't changed my passive tree or anything. All I've done is equip this thing and started recording. So I have not really ran this much. I did try it a little bit, made a couple of mistakes here and there that we'll talk about here in a second. But the big thing about this is its socketed gems are supported by level 20 endurance charge on melee stun. That means when I can 6-link this and socket it, I don't have to socket this in there anymore, which I could theoretically pull all this out, and it would be the same 6 socket that I have. I'm not going to mess with it right now. I want to get up. I have enough gold, but I don't have enough currency to buy fusing, so I'm going to have to deal with that. But that means this is basically going to be a 7-link item when I get it done. It's also got plus 40 intelligence. We've got adds some fizz damage to it, 10% increased fizz damage per endurance charge. So I get 5 endurance charges. That's like 50% increased damage. And then we've got 27% reduced enemy stun threshold. So this should do pretty good. On the skill gem side of it, of course, I'm running Tectonic Slam. And I'm running Pulverize. I want as much AoE as possible. That's why Pulverize is here. We're running Life Tap because I don't have enough mana. I've got 11 mana. There's no way I can sustain it. Everything's Life Tap that needs to be. So those are pretty much non-negotiable. Somebody pointed out that overexertion support is better than elemental damage with attack support. However, I was also running added fire damage, and added fire damage is worse than LE damage with attacks. So I need endurance charge on melee stun. I have to have that to generate the endurance charges. I need Pulverize to create the massive AoE that I get. And of course I need, obviously, the skill itself and Life Tap. So in the cascading down of things, overexertion is definitely the best support gem that I can put in after this other stuff. But LE damage with attacks is also the second best. And then after that, because I need endurance charge, I have to have this. But once I'm able to swap all this over into this maul, then I'll be able to put added fire damage back in and actually bump my damage up a bit. We could, now that I'm sitting here thinking about this, we could just swap this over. I do need to 6-link this. I am definitely going to have to 6-link this. I also messed around with stun support for a little bit. Let's see. I need to have Pulverize, LE damage, this in here, and then we'll put that over there. I'll put added fire for when I 6-link it. I need to keep that. I don't need the endurance charge anymore. I would like to be able to, totally misclicked on that. I would like to be able to do something with a support gem in here for this auto exertion. And I know people are going to yell, oh, you need to really You need to piano key this. I don't want to. I'm not a fan of that. I value my wrists more than that. But the damage should be the same. And then when I 6-link this, I'll be adding fire damage in. Let's go run a map really quick, because what I messed up on earlier is I started running the map after I made all these changes, and I forgot that you have to have this socketed into the mace. So I was running a 6-link with this added fire damage instead of the endurance charge, and that was no bueno. Let me swap that over here. Cursed with vulnerability. I'm double, triple, quadruple checking. This might not be the best map to run, but I don't see reflect. So let's go see what this does. I'm actually curious how this works, because like I said, when I tried it earlier, I tried it without that endurance charge, stupidly, so I basically dropped my endurance charge. I've quickly got 4 endurance charges there. I bounce between 4 and 5. Really, theoretically, I don't think I should see much of a difference between this mallet or this mace and the other one. Like, it should be fairly comparable. This one's got a lot less, a little bit lower on the low end, but a little bit higher on the high end. So average, it might be kind of about the same. This doesn't feel too bad. There was definitely the endurance charge, the endurance thing missing. So it's kind of where it was. But the other build that I was looking at had some decently impressive damage. Like, it was in the millions. Mine's definitely not. Once I 6-link this and get it all attached together, it'll probably be a lot better. But I need to get my currency built up. See, I took a little bit of damage there. I had to use a life potion, but it wasn't too bad. That I don't think is squishy. I also don't feel like I'm... everything is on. I also don't feel like I'm stunning maybe as much with this. I'm not sure. It's hard to gauge. I wouldn't mind actually swapping out one mace for the other, just to swap mid-map. Oh, that was a big shot. See, that's the kind of shots that that's what having all armor felt like, was just having that. If that thing stays stunned, it just doesn't attack me. But yeah, it's I won't run any more of it. There's definitely a lot of min-maxing that you have to do to figure out what is wrong with the build and what is causing issues. This doesn't feel the same. This new mace does not feel the same as this old mace, and I may need to make some in fact, I'm probably going to need to make some adjustments on the passive tree to accommodate this. I'll probably go see if I can find that thread and see what that guy did for his passive tree, because he's probably doesn't have anything this remotely close to the same that I do, but I'd be kind of curious what they're doing instead. I also made a couple of changes. I think I had a node down here for life. I ended up dropping that. I got really sick of corrupted blood, so I ended up dropping that health node, which dropped my life down just slightly, but I ended up picking up corrupted blood cannot be corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you. And then I swapped this flask out. It's whatever. It's grants immunity to ignite and removes burning, which I don't necessarily care about. But this is better than the flask that I had that removed corrupted blood, so I don't have to deal with that anymore. I've still got the one for can't be maimed or hindered, but I did find out you can get maim and hindering on your flasks, so I probably could swap that out. I'm not sure. I don't think I made any other changes on here besides that. I think that was it. But I did swap that over because I got corrupted blood killed me, and I'm still only level 96. I think in the last video I was talking about leveling up. I got to about 40%, died a couple times, and I was like, all right, well, one of the deaths was corrupted blood, so I ended up taking care of that through that mechanism over there. But at any rate, that is where I'm at with this build. I like the fact that I can choose different weapons now and see which weapon works the best. I don't know that this one is the best mace ever, but it was the mace that's carried me this far. This other one might be a lot better once I get it tweaked and turned into it. But I got to 6-link it. I got to get this added fire damage back into it and stuff like that. Get rid of this endurance melee charge on hit, which is, I've still got a 6-link, but I need to get this 7-link so I can you know, get that going. But anyway, I thought this was cool. I ran into that, and now I just need to get enough fusings. I've got a decent chunk of them, but I need 420 more to be able to 6-link this. So a little bit of grind ahead of me to get that moved over. But at any rate, that is the update I have for Tectonic Slam Chieftain. That's going to do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.